Hello YouTube, this is Crosscheck and welcome to a very exciting video. Now, a couple of days ago I stumbled upon a very interesting video. This video was from the Infographic Show and it looked quite interesting, to be honest. It is called 15 Insane Fighter Jet Facts That Will Shock You. And who doesn't love fighter jets? Of course, I had to check out the video. There were some really interesting facts, but what impressed me the most is the amount of wrong information and graphics that can be crammed up into a 15-minute video. And I said to myself, hey, this is actually pretty funny. I should totally make a video about this. Thankfully, the majority of the legwork on spotting the errors was already done by the viewers, especially by Louis the Hedgehog. Thank you, dude. I was still able to find some other really fun stuff that other viewers were not able to spot, so I think this is gonna be really fun. Anyway, let's jump into this. I hope you enjoy.
Fighter jets are probably the most iconic and badass weapon in any nation's military.
Oh boy, okay, so this is the way the video starts, so you can kind of imagine we are in for quite a treat. So he starts by saying that the fighter jets are probably the most iconic and badass weapons of any country. That may actually be quite accurate. Fighter jets are super iconic. Here are a couple of pictures of fighter jets, and I think, yeah, they look like a fighter jet. Just to make sure we are on the same page, what is a fighter jet? Okay, for starters, a fighter aircraft is a military fixed-wing aircraft designed primarily for air-to-air combat against other aircraft. The key performance features of a fighter include not only its firepower, but also its high speed and maneuverability relative to the target aircraft. Basically, its tactical purpose is to establish air superiority over the battlefield. That is a fighter aircraft. So what is a fighter jet? Basically, a fighter that is propelled by jet engines. There you go, fighter jet. So we know what a fighter jet is. We know they are super iconic. Why are they showing this aircraft when we are talking about fighter jets? As far as I can tell, this is the Boeing C-17 Globemaster. Clearly, you don't have to be an expert on military aircraft to know that this is not a fighter jet. This is a large military transport aircraft. To be more specific, its role a strategic and a tactical airlifter. So why? Why do you start your video on fighter jets showing two aircraft and only one of those is a fighter jet? Ay, 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 ay. And this is only gonna get better. Let's keep going.
They patrol the skies like giant predatory birds, screaming down onto their targets from out of the blue, or lurking unseen miles away like a deadly assassin. They are loud, powerful, and some are on the bleeding edge of technology itself. So it's no surprise that their history and development is filled with amazing facts you probably never heard of. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Infographic Show. Today we're taking a look at 50 surprising facts you didn't know about fighter jets. 50. The F-4 Phantom.
Okay, now this is going to be happening a lot. Obviously, this is not a Phantom, this is a Lightning II. Extremely different aircraft. Some people may argue that they just use any graphic that they can lay their hands on. They just want to make a point, they are not worried about representing the aircraft realistically. But I had two things to say about that. Number one, it's called the Infographic Show. The graphics should represent quite fairly the information. And number two, this is as bad as if you mention the Nokia 3310 and show the graphic of an iPhone. It's just lazy and it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I'm gonna try to stick with the mistakes in this infographics episode, so I'm gonna be jumping around, not showing the points that are really not worth showing.
48. Though not technically using a fighter jet, this one's still too cool to leave out.
I kinda understand why they are adding this. I mean, they just mentioned that it's too cool to keep out of the list, but it's not a fighter jet. And to our surprise, there are gonna be a lot of non-fighter jets that make it to this list. So why bother calling the video 15 Insane Fighter Jet Facts if you're gonna be talking about any kind of aircraft? I don't know, just call it 15 insane military aircraft facts.
47. In 1989, a Soviet pilot ejected from a perfectly working MiG-23.
Yep, not a MiG-23. That looks more like a Typhoon if you ask me.
46. The Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird was so fast.
Okay, the SR-71 is not a fighter jet, so again, it shouldn't be on this list.
45. The SR-71's designers.
Again, this video is about fighter jets. This is not a fighter jet.
44. Moving at 3 times the speed of sound and flying at 85,000 feet, the SR-71.
Same thing, not a fighter jet.
43. The SR-71 is still the fastest plane ever created.
Oh my god. Okay, so again, not a fighter jet. Why are we dedicating so many points at non-fighter jets on a fighter jet video? Also, the SR-71 is not the fastest aircraft. If you want to make it the fastest on something, you can make it the fastest air-breathing plane that can carry people. The X-15 can go twice as fast, but is rocket-powered, not jet-powered. The SR-72 can also go twice as fast, but it is a drone.
And first took flight for the US Air Force in 1964. NASA retired its last model in 1999. 42. Over 4,000 missiles were fired at the SR-71.
Again, not a fighter jet.
41. The plane required a large amount of titanium to construct.
We are still not talking about fighter jets.
40. The Lockheed U-2, another of its famed spy planes.
Okay, he just said it. He just said spy plane. It is not a fighter jet, it is a spy plane. And this looks nothing like a U-2 spy plane. It actually looks more like a FA-18 maybe? A really weird one.
39. The plane was rejected by the US Air Force.
Same old, another point, not talking about a fighter jet.
38. U-2 pilots.
Same thing, it's not a fighter jet and it looks nothing like the U-2.
37. On May 1st, 1960, it was revealed that the Soviet Union had indeed been able to track U-2 planes, but their missiles weren't good enough to hit them for years. On that day, pilot Gary Powers was shot down over the Soviet Union, and the US government immediately contracted Lockheed to build a better spy plane.
Again, it's not a fighter jet. And absolutely not. The plans for replacing the U-2 dated way back. When this happened, the SR-71 project was very much a thing. So yeah.
The SR-71. 36. Every retired F-14 Tomcat.
Oh my god. I mean, you are talking about the Tomcat, one of the United States' most iconic fighter jet ever. The aircraft of the Top Gun movie. And you show graphics of the F-16. Come on. I mean, are you doing this in purpose? What are you trying to do with me? Why? I swear to God, these guys are just trying to trigger us.
35. The US made F-15 Eagle.
This is not the F-15. You slapping a text that says F-15 on the plane's stabilizer doesn't make it an F-15. Oh my god. Also, the F-15 is super iconic, as is the FA-18. Why? Why just not do a graphic for the F-15? This is driving me nuts.
34. In 1983, an Israeli pilot successfully landed his F-15.
What? What is going on in the— oh my god, what is this? I don't understand. Oh no. Oh no. Everything is wrong here. This is not an F-15, this is an FA-18. What the hell is up with all of these gears? 1, 2, 3, 4 front gears, and I'm assuming 4 wheels on the back, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. I mean, we were talking at the beginning of this video that the fighter jets are one of the most iconic weapons ever. And somehow you cannot tell the difference between an F-15 and the FA-18, and you go ahead and just put 4 nose wheels into the aircraft. Come on. What fighter jet has 4 nose wheels? And in that crazy configuration, I mean, some stick longer than others, some stick shorter than others. And okay, we are speaking about an Israeli pilot. landing its aircraft? I'm assuming it's on Israel. Why do we have F-35 Lightning IIs in Israel? And if that wasn't bad enough, what are they doing there in 1983? What the hell is going on? And don't even get me started with the markings on the airfield. I've had enough of this scene. Thank you. This is enough.
33. The F-15.
Again, this is not an F-15, but now they removed the F-15 text on the stabilizer, so they were too lazy to flip it over, maybe? Why? Why so lazy on this? I mean, what happened?
Can also add the only satellite kill in history to its impressive record. During an anti-satellite weapon test, U.S. Air Force pilot Major Wilbert D. Pearson fired an anti-satellite missile at a retired solar observatory satellite in orbit 345 miles above, destroying it. 32. Breaking the sound barrier was thought impossible by many, who stated that doing so was not just physically impossible, but would destroy any aircraft attempting to fly so fast. Yet on October 14, 1947, U.S. pilot Chuck Yeager did exactly that, flying at Mach 1.07 in the experimental X-1 jet.
Okay, number 1. This most definitely is not how the X-1 looks like. This looks like just a business jet. I mean, are you guys even trying? Second of all, this is not a fighter aircraft. And third of all, it's not even a jet aircraft. It is a rocket plane. How can you get it so wrong? I mean, this is not rocket science. Haha, you see what I did there? Not rocket science, and we were talking about a rocket plane? Haha, very funny, huh? Oh boy. I still don't understand what's going on here. It's blowing my mind. This is amazing. Absolutely fantastic.
31. Nobody expected Chuck Yeager or his aircraft to survive the attempt to break the sound barrier.
Again, that is not the correct graphic. This is not a fighter aircraft, and this is not a jet-powered aircraft. Why are we still talking about this?
30. 2 days before his test flight, Yeager fell off a horse and broke 2 of his ribs. Afraid he would be grounded and unable to fly, Yeager went to a civilian doctor who simply taped up his ribs and kept the injury secret. He was in so much pain on the day of his flight that he couldn't seal the X-1's hatch by himself and had to be helped by a fellow pilot who knew of the injury.
Again, what can I tell you? Not the correct graphic, not a fighter aircraft, not a jet aircraft. And also, it is worth mentioning, you climb into the X-1 while it is attached to its B-29 mothership. You don't climb on it on the ground. And also, what are Russian planes from the future doing on American soil? It does seem to me like that's a MiG-29 Fulcrum. Why?
29. In June 1974, when President Nixon was on his way to a scheduled stop in Syria, Syrian fighter jets intercepted Air Force One to act as escorts.
Well, I'm really happy to tell you guys that these are in fact fighter jets. The bad news is that Syria does not use F-35 Lightnings II, and the program that developed the F-35 didn't start until 1996, when Nixon was already dead. So why use F-35s? I mean, it just looks so out of place. You don't even have to know about aircraft to know that this aircraft looks a little bit too modern for the Nixon era. Right? Am I wrong?
Air Force One's crew, however, had not been informed, and the plane took evasive actions to include a steep dive. 28. The F-22 is the world's first 5th-generation aircraft.
Again, really happy to tell you this is a fighter jet. Sadly, again, the graphic does not match the aircraft. This is not a F-22, it looks more like a Sukhoi 57. These guys are just able to mess everything up.
And as such was prone to many bugs when first taking to the skies, taking off from Hawaii.
And whoa, what is this? This looks nothing like the F-22 cockpit. I mean, you are talking about 5th-generation fighter jets. These aircraft are really well known because of having amazing, humongous glass cockpits. Basically just huge screens in front of you. No gauges, no dials. What? This looks more in line to a 4th generation fighter jet. If I had to guess which aircraft this cockpit belongs to, I would probably go for the Dassault Mirage 2000, a 4th generation fighter jet. This is so bizarre. I mean, they took the time and effort to create the cockpit. Why do the wrong one? It would actually be easier to do the newer ones. They have less stuff going on there, just big screens. They just seem so committed to just getting things wrong. It's insane.
27. Though it first became operational in the early 2000s, F-22s didn't see combat until 2014, when in response to the deployment of anti-air missile systems and fighter jets in the region by Russia.
Okay, so this is really interesting because obviously these aircraft are not F-22s, but they are not meant to be. What they are trying to show here in this graphic, the Russian fighter jets they are speaking about, but obviously they just couldn't get it right. So yeah, these are F-16s. F-16s are not operated by Russia. And to make matters even worse, I mean, they could have used the MiG-29 graphics that they used in FAC-30.
F-22s began to escort coalition aircraft, ensuring the safety of the other aircraft. The high-tech Raptors also used their electronic warfare suites to gather data.
Okay, now these ones are supposed to be F-22s. Funny thing is, these are Russian aircraft. So the ones that are supposed to be Russian are American, and the ones that are supposed to be American are Russian. Again, this seems to be the Sukhoi 57, not a F-22 Raptor.
On Russian anti-air systems. 26. The F-22.
Again, the graphic is super wrong.
25. The F-22.
This is not the F-22, this is the F-35.
Has a radar cross-section the size of a bumblebee while in flight, and its weapons bay doors are closed.
And once again they go back to the Sukhoi 57 graphic for the F-22. Yay!
Powerful onboard sensors allow the aircraft to target and destroy enemies from beyond visual range, well before it's detected. 24. In exercises against friendly nations such as Britain and France, F-22s overwhelmingly decimated Rafale and Typhoon fighter jets.
Okay, wow, this is super exciting, guys. I think one of the graphics is kind of correct. The middle one actually does look like a Typhoon. That is amazing. The one on the right supposedly is the Rafale, but obviously it is the F-35, so that one is wrong. And the one in the left, as we know, is not the F-22 Raptor, it is a Sukhoi 57. Interesting to note, even though the Typhoon is now correct, it was used earlier to show a MiG-23, so yeah, they are not even consistent with their mistakes. So that's fun.
By striking at them from beyond visual range and before they could be detected. 22. During testing, an F-22 dropped a GBU-32.
Again, wrong graphic for the aircraft, and as should be expected, also wrong graphic for the munition. The GBU-32 looks nothing like this. This kind of looks like a cruise missile, which, as far as I'm concerned, the F-22 can't carry cruise missiles. And let's see what this crazy GBU-32 is doing.
Joint direct attack munition from 50,000 feet, and while cruising at Mach 1.5, the bomb hit a moving target 24 miles away.
Okay. First of all, GBU bombs are bombs, not missiles. This munition is used for air-to-ground attacks, not air-to-air. Clearly, the script does not mention where the target is, if it is in the air or in the ground. But if the ones doing the graphics did just the bare minimum of research, they would have known it would have been a ground target, not an air target. I mean, this is just insane. Zero effort. Zero effort. It's just hilarious. Now, something interesting. I may be ignorant on this topic, but as far as I know, GBU-32s are basically dump bombs with a guidance kit that converts them into all-weather precision-guided munitions. So basically, they have a inertial guidance system coupled with a global positioning system. On your aircraft, you set the coordinates, you drop the bomb, and the bomb is going to fly directly at the coordinates that you input. These are really, really cool munitions. Really fun to use, at least on my experience in DCS, right? But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, hitting a moving target is quite hard. I mean, the target needs to be exactly on the coordinates that you set before launching the bomb. If you want to hit a moving target, you may want to use laser-guided bombs where you can track the target with the laser on your targeting pod, or you can use something like a Maverick or stuff like that. But yeah, my point is, I'm not so sure about the moving target. But yeah, let's keep moving. This just keeps getting better and better.
21. The US Air Force typically tests the quality of its new aircraft by pitting them against current aircraft. In 2006, the F-22 was pitted against the F-15.
Again, that is not an F-22, that is a Sukhoi 57, and that is not a F-15, that is an FA-18.
And maintained a kill ratio of 108.
And what the hell is the quote-unquote F-22 shooting? That is not an AMRAAM. You know what? That actually may be a Phoenix. But yeah, the F-22 cannot launch Phoenixes, only the F-14 can do so. On the other side, it kind of looks like a Sidewinder, maybe. A super weird one. I don't think it's such a good idea to shoot a Sidewinder, which is a heat-seeking missile, into an aircraft not showing the heat source to you. But yeah, there you go.
20. The F-22.
Same all, I'm not even gonna repeat myself.
19. The F-22 inspired the development of China's Chengdu 20 and Russia's Sukhoi T-50 PAK-FA as a countermeasure.
Okay, this is a very interesting one. Okay, so they mentioned the Chinese J-20, and as the F-22 inspired the J-20, they are using the same model of the Sukhoi 57 that they use for the F-22 as the new J-20. Now, what makes this so funny is that they also mention the T-50 from Russia, which, in case you do not know, the T-50 became the Russian Sukhoi 57. So basically, the model that they are using on China should have been on Russia. And the graphic that they are using on Russia it kind of looks like a Rafael, which has nothing to be doing here. This is so weird. This is so crazy. Oh my god. These guys are so much fun.
18. In 1956, due to its high speed, an F-11 shot itself because it was faster than its own bullets.
Okay guys, I think this is the closest one to being accurate. It kind of looks like an F-11, and an F-11 actually is a fighter jet, and that is absolutely awesome. I think they almost got this right. Okay, the information is a little bit misleading. That's not how physics work. It doesn't matter what speed your aircraft is. When you shoot something, it adds from the speed you are at. So it's not like this aircraft was going super fast and it started shooting and the bullets were slower than him, so the aircraft basically shot himself. No, what happened was the aircraft actually took a couple of shots. After it shot, it accelerated quite hard, and the bullets do slow down because of drag, so he basically flew into his own bullets. Yes, but it was because the aircraft accelerated after shooting and the bullets decelerated after being shot. So that's what happens. If you maintain a constant speed, it doesn't matter how fast you're going, the bullets are gonna be thrown out of your aircraft faster than the speed you're flying at.
17. The F-35 is the US's second fifth-generation aircraft, and the total cost of development is so far 7 times greater than that of the International Space Station.
Wow. Wow. They got it right. They got it right. Time for celebration. Yeah.
16. The Russian-built Su-35.
Okay, so, yep, this is not a Sukhoi 35 super flanker, this is basically a Typhoon. Again, these guys seem to really like the Typhoon, but yeah.
Is the pinnacle of Russian 4th-generation fighter jets, and also the most maneuverable aircraft in the world. It uses thrust vectoring engines, much like the F-22.
Now that one in the hangar actually looks a little bit more like the Sukhoi 35, but maybe it is even closer to the 32, 34.
But with a greater range and the ability to vector the nozzles of its twin engines in different directions. It's capable of acrobatic maneuvers the F-22 can't match. 15. The Su-35's incredible thrust vectoring capabilities.
Again, this looks like Typhoon, not flankers.
Are not just for impressive audiences at air shows. They also allow the Su-35 to achieve very high angles of attack.
What? I mean, yeah, I guess. That's a very interesting way to point out that it can do very high angles of attack by flying completely backwards. I mean, what? Okay, just to make it clear, this is how a flanker doing high angle of attack maneuvers looks like. It's not exactly flying backwards. Really, that is super interesting that they decided to show high angles of attack this way. I would have never, I mean, it would have never crossed my mind to show an aircraft flying backwards to depict high angles of attack. This is just brilliant. This is a whole new level. Absolutely amazing.
Moving in one direction while pointing its nose in another, which lets it more easily track and target evading targets. This makes the Su-35 one of the most deadly dogfighters ever created. 14. A Su-35's thrust vectoring makes it lethal when targeting an enemy plane.
Again, this is a Typhoon model, not the flanker model. And wouldn't it be nice, I mean, if it's talking about thrust vectoring, could you at least just move your thrust a little bit up and down just to let the people know what thrust vectoring is? I mean, it's not that complex to animate. Actually, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
12. The Su-35's
That's not a flanker.
pilots use advanced helmets that can automatically target and launch an R-74 infrared guided missile.
R-74? I am not aware of the existence of that missile. I assume they are talking about the R-73, and the graphic doesn't quite match the missile, but I'll give it a pass, it's close enough. It does look like a Fox 2, so that's okay in my books.
11. Utilizing the Earbeast-E passively electronically scanned array radar, a Su-35 can track up to 30 targets with a radar cross-section of 3 meters, up to 250 miles away.
What the hell is this cockpit? Oh my god, this is absolutely horrendous. Holy Jesus. What the hell is this? I mean, someone gave up super hard. Wow, this is really hurting my eyes. Oh my goodness. This is how the Sukhoi 35 cockpit looks like. I'm sorry, I just cannot see the resemblance. It's not there. Oh my god, it's horrible.
7. The F-35 is not only the most expensive fighter ever built.
Okay, that's not entirely true. I mean, the F-35 is an expensive boy. that is true. It is the 35 Bravo is around $110 million as far as I'm concerned, but the F-22 tops that. The F-22, each unit costs around 150 million. So yeah, the F-22 is way more expensive than the F-35. What was really expensive about the F-35 was the development project. The development project was extremely expensive. More expensive than the development project of the F-22, that is correct. But the unit, the aircraft, is cheaper than the F-22. The F-22, as far as I'm concerned, is the most expensive fighter jet money can buy.
2. Despite its own impressive capabilities, the F-35 is even more impressive in its ability to support other aircraft.
Okay, so this is super curious because what are F-35s doing supporting a Sukhoi 57? I don't think that would ever happen, number one. And number two, the sizes are a bit wrong. I mean, why don't you just place the Boeing Globemaster that you used in the beginning? That would have made much more sense. I mean, what is the point of this? Why?
Its powerful sensor fusion and information distribution capabilities makes each F-35 a miniature AWACS, pumping out targeting information to all friendly aircraft within range.
Whoa. What is going on here? What are those F-117 doing there? Are they shooting bullets? Oh boy. Well, first things first, those aircraft are not fighter aircraft. They are not even capable of shooting bullets, as they do not have a cannon. Second of all, those aircraft retired 5 years before the F-35 entered service, so you wouldn't be able to see them fly together. And I just don't understand how aircraft would follow a missile and shoot at it with guns to try to disable it. more so what seems to be a heat-seeking missile. This is just so bizarre. I mean, the people behind this design just are in a completely different reality. It is insane. I would love to smoke whatever they are smoking. It looks like it's really good stuff. I am loving this. It is driving me crazy, but I am loving it. It's awesome. Sadly for us, that is pretty much it. The video finishes with one more point, and I don't see anything to pick up from here. The pieces do look a little bit futuristic, but I think it's plausible. Yeah, dude, I mean, like half of the facts you threw at us weren't even about fighter jets. Why stick to the fighter jet line if you are miles away from it? I mean, just call it military aircraft facts. I think that would have worked quite nicely if you ignore all of the wrong graphics, of course. So yeah, that's also something you need to be aware of. I mean, if your channel is about graphics regarding information, I think the graphics should vaguely, correctly represent the information. This was kind of pathetic, but it was super fun. Anyway, yeah. that was so much fun. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really enjoyed doing this. I mean, I do say that it triggers me, and in some ways it does, but at the end of the day, it's just fun. Probably the guys doing the graphics didn't have much time to pull this off, and they just threw in what they were able to, and they weren't able to do much research. The research was left to the ones creating the script. So yeah, this kind of stuff just happens, and I think it's worth picking it up and making some fun of it. It's just good fun. I am not exempt of doing stupid ass stuff like this. So yeah, obviously I'm not trying to say that all I do is perfect. I mess up a lot, and people do make fun of me, and I think it's okay as long as it is not mean-spirited, right? So yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, helps me a ton, and I would appreciate a subscribe. I would really like to reach 50,000. That is my goal for this year. Anyway, happy flying, cross check out.